The sharp crack of her hand across my face echoed through the massive kitchen, stinging like 1,000 needles as my head snapped to the side. Victoria Hargrove's palm connected hard, leaving a hot, throbbing welt on my cheek, and I could taste the metallic tang of blood where my lip split against my teeth. She loomed over me, her designer dress pristine and her diamond necklace glinting under the chandelier lights. Her face twisted in pure rage. "You filthy thief!" she screamed, her voice shrill and cutting like glass. "Those leftovers were for the dog, not some low-life nanny like you. How dare you touch my food? You're nothing but trash scavenging in my home." Welcome to Melina's Stories. I share new life stories here every day, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Drop a comment down below telling me where you're watching from and what time it is for you, right? Now, I read every single comment, and it helps me to know I'm not alone in this. I staggered back a step, my hands trembling as I pressed them to the cool marble counter to steady myself. The humiliation burned deeper than the slap, her words slicing into me like knives, making me feel small and worthless in that opulent space filled with gleaming appliances and imported tiles. Marcus, her husband, lounged in the doorway, sipping his scotch with a smirk, not bothering to intervene. "Victoria, ease up," he drawled lazily, but she ignored him, pointing a manicured finger at my face. "You're lucky I don't call the police right now and have you thrown out on the street where you belong." Tears pricked at my eyes, but I forced them back, clenching my jaw to keep from lashing out. I couldn't react, not the way I wanted to. Blowing my cover now would ruin everything I'd worked for. Instead, I muttered a shaky apology. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Hargrove. It won't happen again," and lowered my head, playing the part of the meek servant she expected. But let's rewind so you understand why I was even there enduring this nightmare. My real name is Agent Elena Ramirez, and I've been with the FBI for 8 years, specializing in white-collar crimes that prey on the vulnerable. A tip came in months ago about Victoria Hargrove, this socialite who paraded as a philanthropist running a charity for struggling families. But we suspected her of siphoning off donations through clever financial fraud, faking expenses, laundering money, and leaving those families even worse off. To get close, I went undercover as Elena Morales, a desperate nanny with fabricated references from an agency we controlled. I nailed the interview, or what passed for one. Victoria barely looked at me, just waved me in with a dismissive, "You'll do. Watch the kids and stay out of my way." I moved into their sprawling estate that week, a mansion dripping with luxury, from the infinity pool to the home theater. Her husband, Marcus, the investment banker, treated me like I was invisible unless he was leering. And the kids, sweet Sophia, who's 7 and loves drawing, and energetic Tyler, 5, who races around like a little tornado, they were the innocents caught in this toxic world. For months, I'd been playing the role perfectly, caring for them during the day while quietly gathering bits of evidence at night. Overheard fragments of phone calls about adjusting the books, brief glimpses of suspicious spreadsheets when she left her laptop open, careful notes on odd bank transfers I'd spotted in discarded mail. Nothing explosive yet, just enough to build a case without raising alarms. Every day brought small abuses, her snapping at me for the slightest mistake, like not ironing a shirt perfectly or letting the kids laugh too loudly. "You're incompetent," she'd sneer, her contempt for anyone without her wealth dripping from every word. I'd swallow it all, reminding myself it was for the greater good, to expose how she was betraying those families who trusted her charity. The slap that night? It was the breaking point of injustice I'd been holding back, but I had to endure it. Victoria had no idea who she was really dealing with, or how her arrogance was about to come crashing down. I stumbled down the hallway to my basement room, the echo of Victoria's slap still ringing in my ears, my cheek pulsing with every step. The door clicked shut behind me, and I leaned against it, sliding down to the cold tile floor, finally letting the tears stream down my face. That woman had no right to lay a hand on me, but there I was, trapped in this role, forcing myself to swallow the rage bubbling up inside. I grabbed a washcloth from the tiny sink in the corner, running it under cold water and pressing it to my swelling cheek. The mirror showed a red mark blooming across my skin, and I winced as I touched it. How many times had I put up with her crap just to keep this operation going? It started with little things, like the way she'd bark orders at me in front of her friends, making me feel like some kind of servant from a bad movie. "Clean this up now, Elena," she'd say during one of her brunches. pointing at a spilled mimosa like it was my fault. And don't dawdle, you're not paid to stand around looking stupid. Her guests would chuckle, eyeing me with that pitying glance, and I'd nod, "Yes, Mrs. Hargrove," while biting back a retort. Or the time Tyler knocked over a vase while playing, and she blamed me for not watching him closely enough. "You're useless. I should fire you right now," she yelled, her face inches from mine, spittle flying. I apologized profusely, even though the kid was just being a kid, and cleaned up the shards on my hands and knees. But it wasn't just the yelling. She'd make snide comments about my clothes, my accent, anything to remind me I was beneath her. "Where did you get that blouse? The thrift store?" She'd sneer when I wore something simple. Marcus would laugh along sometimes, saying, "Victoria, be nice. She's doing her best." But his best always came with a wink that made my skin crawl. I endured it all, smiling through gritted teeth, because every insult got me closer to the truth about her scams. Sitting there on the floor, I pulled out my secure phone from under the mattress, the one the FBI issued that looked like a cheap burner. I scrolled through the notes I'd been keeping, fragments of conversations I'd overheard while pretending to dust the study. Like that call last week, "Make sure the donation logs show the full amount. We'll skim the rest later," Victoria had said into her phone, her voice low but clear through the cracked door. I jotted it down word for word, along with dates and times. Then there were the photos. I'd snapped quick pictures on my hidden camera pen when she left documents out. Bank statements with transfers to accounts that didn't match the charity's records. Receipts for luxury items billed as office supplies. Nothing airtight yet, but it was building. I reviewed one image now, zooming in on a spreadsheet showing thousands diverted from funds meant for single moms and low-income families. Those people were counting on that money for rent, food, school supplies, and here she was, using it to fund her spa days and yacht parties. My mind raced back to more abuses I'd stomached. The day Sophia had a fever, and I suggested calling the doctor. "Don't tell me how to parent my child," Victoria snapped, shoving medicine at me. "Just give her this and shut up." I did, but watched the girl like a hawk, knowing Victoria was too busy with her social calendar to care. Or when Marcus came home late, reeking of bourbon, and cornered me in the laundry room. "You're pretty for a nanny," he slurred, his hand brushing my arm. I sidestepped him, saying, "I need to finish folding these, Mr. Hargrove," and escaped before it escalated. Reporting that could blow everything, so I noted it as potential leverage instead. Wiping my face, I stood up and paced the small room, the walls closing in with their peeling paint and musty smell, a far cry from the upstairs luxury. This slap wasn't just another insult, it felt like the tipping point. My cheek still burned, a constant reminder of how she saw me as disposable, as less than. But reviewing those evidence files ignited something fierce in me. I had enough to know she was guilty, but not enough for a slam-dunk case. It was time to push harder, to dig deeper without her suspecting a thing. I thought about the kids upstairs, innocent in all this. Sophia had hugged me earlier that day, whispering, "You're nice, Elena. Mommy's always mad." It broke my heart knowing they'd suffer when the truth came out. But better that than growing up in a house built on lies and stolen money. Tyler's laughter echoed in my memory, chasing butterflies in the garden while Victoria ignored him for her phone. My handler's words from our last check-in replayed in my head. "Stay low, Elena. We need ironclad proof." But after tonight, I couldn't just wait. I typed a quick, encrypted message. "Minor incident. Evidence review underway. Advise on next steps?" No details about the slap, that was personal. Hitting send, I felt a surge of determination mix with the pain. Glancing at the clock, it was getting late. I changed into pajamas, the soft fabric a small comfort against the day's bruises, both seen and unseen. Laying on the thin mattress, I stared at the ceiling, replaying the kitchen scene. Victoria's hand flying, her words cutting deep. But she didn't know the real me, the agent who'd taken down bigger fish. This abuse had gone on long enough. Tomorrow, I'd start accelerating things subtly, maybe linger near her office more, ask innocent questions to probe. For now, I closed my eyes, the evidence files glowing in my mind like a beacon. She thought she could break me, but all she'd done was light the fuse. The sun filtered through the estate's massive windows the next morning, casting long shadows across the polished hardwood floors as I made my way upstairs from the basement. My cheek still ached from the slap, a faint bruise hidden under a layer of concealer I'd applied carefully in the dim light of my room. I could hear the kids stirring in their bedrooms, Sophia calling out for her favorite stuffed bear, and Tyler giggling about something in his crib, no, his big boy bed now, since he'd outgrown the bars months ago. I stepped into the kitchen where Victoria was already perched at the island, scrolling through her phone with a steaming mug of coffee in hand. She didn't even look up as I entered, just snapped her fingers toward the fridge. Elena, get the kids' breakfast ready. Oatmeal for Sophia, scrambled eggs for Tyler. And make it quick, I've got a meeting soon. Her voice was clipped, as if last night's explosion never happened. But I caught the way her eyes flicked nervously toward the hallway leading to her home office. Yes, Mrs. Hargrove, I replied, keeping my tone even and submissive, though inside I was seething. I pulled out the ingredients, stirring the oatmeal on the stove while cracking eggs into a bowl. As the pan sizzled, I glanced at her over my shoulder. How was your evening after the party? You seemed busy with work calls. She paused, her thumb hovering over the screen, and shot me a sharp look. That's none of your business, Elena. Stick to the kids and the chores. I don't pay you to pry. There it was, that defensive edge, like I'd touched a nerve without even trying. I nodded, turning back to the stove, but my mind raced. Her usual contempt was there, laced with something new, unease. Sophia wandered in then, her hair tousled from sleep, clutching her drawing pad. Morning, Elena. Can we color after breakfast? She asked, climbing onto a stool. I smiled at her, plating the oatmeal with a sprinkle of berries. Sure, sweetie, as long as your mom says it's okay. Victoria huffed, setting her mug down with a clink. Don't indulge her too much. She has piano lessons later, and Elena, while you're at it, cleaned my office this morning. It's a mess from yesterday's paperwork. She stood up, smoothing her silk blouse, but I noticed how she lingered by the door, watching me like she expected me to argue. Of course, Mrs. Hargrove. I'll get to it right after the kids eat, I said, handing Tyler his plate as he toddled in. His pajamas rumpled, he grinned up at me. Eggs, thanks, Elena. Victoria rolled her eyes at his enthusiasm. Hurry up, both of you. I don't have all day. She grabbed her tablet and headed toward the office, but not before giving me another wary glance. Once the kids were settled at the table, munching away, I cleared the counters, my thoughts on that nervousness I'd spotted. It was subtle, but after months of observing her, I knew her tells. The way her fingers tapped impatiently, how she avoided eye contact when something bothered her. I finished up with the dishes, wiping my hands on a towel. Okay, you two, eat up. I'll be right back, going to tidy your mom's office like she asked. Sophia nodded, her spoon clinking against the bowl. Don't let Mommy yell at you again, Elena. She was mean last night. Her words hit me like a punch. That innocent observation stirring up the humiliation from the slap all over again. I ruffled her hair gently. Don't worry about me, kiddo. I've got it handled. I made my way down the hall to the home office. The door slightly ajar as always when she was in a rush. The room was a showcase of her status. Mahogany desk, leather chair, shelves lined with crystal awards from her charity events. Papers were scattered across the surface, and her computer screen had gone idle, not locked. One nudge of the mouse brought the desktop back. I started with the basics, dusting the shelves and straightening the books, all while keeping an ear out for footsteps. As I wiped down the desk, I accidentally bumped the mouse, and the screen woke up fully. There it was, an open folder icon labeled Charity Transfers, partially hidden behind other windows. My heart pounded as I glanced at the door, then quickly clicked it open with a gloved hand. I always wore thin cleaning gloves to avoid prints. Inside were files, spreadsheets showing donations coming in from families and small businesses, but then rows of transfers out to unfamiliar accounts, labeled with codes like personal expenses and offshore holdings. What are you doing in here? Victoria's voice snapped from the doorway, making me jump. I minimized the window smoothly, turning with a dust cloth in hand. Just cleaning, Mrs. Hargrove. The desk was dusty, and I didn't want to move your papers without checking. She strode in, her heels clicking sharply, and snatched the mouse from me. Don't touch my computer. Ever. You're here to clean, not snoop around like some nosy peasant. Her words dripped with that familiar disdain, her eyes narrowing as she checked the screen. I saw the flicker of panic when she noticed the folder had been accessed recently. I'm sorry, it was an accident, I said, stepping back with my hands raised. I was just trying to do a thorough job. Your work seems so important, the charity and all. I overheard you talking about it once, how it helps families in need. She slammed a drawer shut, her face flushing. Overheard? You mean eavesdropping. Mind your place, Elena. People like you wouldn't understand the complexities of running a foundation. It's not handouts, it's strategic investments. She pointed to the door. Get out and tend to the children. If I catch you in here again without permission, you're gone. No references, nothing. I nodded, backing out slowly. Yes, ma'am, it won't happen again. But as I left, I caught her muttering under her breath, can't trust anyone these days. Back in the kitchen, the kids had finished eating, and Tyler was stacking blocks on the floor. Elena, play with us, he called. I knelt down beside him, helping build a tower, but my mind was on that file. It linked directly to the embezzlement. Money meant for vulnerable families rerouted to her personal gain. I'd snapped a mental note of the account numbers. Tonight, I'd log them in my secure notes. Her defensiveness confirmed it. She was hiding something big. Marcus appeared then, grabbing a coffee to go. Morning, Elena. Everything okay? You look a bit off. He leaned against the counter, his eyes lingering a second too long on my figure. Fine, Mr. Hargrove. Just a busy morning, I replied, focusing on the blocks. He chuckled. Victoria giving you a hard time again. She's under stress with the charity gala coming up. Don't take it personally. Oh, I don't. Actually, she mentioned her work sounds impressive. Do you help with the finances? I asked casually, probing just a little, watching his reaction. He stiffened slightly, then waved it off. Nah, that's her domain. I stick to my investments. Why do you ask? His tone was light, but there was a guarded edge. No reason. Just curious seems like a lot for one person, I said, stacking another block as Tyler cheered. Marcus sipped his coffee. Curiosity isn't part of your job description, Elena. Stick to the kids. He set the mug down and headed out, calling back. See you later. I watched him go, noting how he dodged the question. The pieces were aligning, Victoria's nervousness, that hidden file, Marcus's evasion, all while treating me like dirt, assuming I was too dumb to notice. But I wasn't just a nanny, I was closing in. Later that afternoon, as I took the kids to the garden for playtime, Sophia tugged my hand. Elena, why does Mommy hate you? She whispered. I knelt to her level. She doesn't hate me, sweetie. Sometimes grown-ups are just stressed. Oh, but inside, the injustice fueled me. The way Victoria belittled me, stole from those who needed help, all under a facade of generosity. Tyler ran ahead, laughing. Catch me! I chased him, forcing a smile, but my resolve hardened. That file was the break I needed. Soon, I'd connect it to the bigger picture without her suspecting a thing. That afternoon in the garden lingered in my mind as I wrapped up playtime with the kids. The sun dipping low and casting golden hues over the perfectly manicured lawns. Sophia and Tyler were tuckered out from running around, their cheeks flushed, and I herded them inside for a snack. Okay, you two, apple slices and peanut butter, sound good? I asked, setting them up at the kitchen table. Sophia nodded enthusiastically, her little hands reaching for the plate. Yes. Can I have extra peanut butter, Elena? Tyler chimed in. Me too, sticky fingers. I laughed softly, spreading more on their slices. All right, but don't make a mess or your mom will have my head. As they munched away, giggling at each other, I glanced toward the hallway where Victoria's office door was closed tight. That file I'd glimpsed earlier, it was burning a hole in my thoughts. Account numbers rerouting charity money to offshore holdings? That was the kind of solid lead my handler would salivate over, but I needed more than a quick peek. I had to deepen this probe without tipping my hand. Once the kids were settled with their snacks, I checked the family schedule on the fridge calendar. Victoria had a lunch meeting downtown, and Marcus was at his office until late. Perfect window. Hey, Sophia, Tyler, want to watch a cartoon while I tidy up a bit? I suggested, flipping on the TV in the living room. Sophia clapped. The one with the singing animals. Tyler bounced in his seat. Yeah, animals. I left them engrossed in the show, their laughter filling the air as I slipped upstairs. My heart pounded a steady rhythm, FBI training kicking in. Move quietly, leave no trace. I headed to the master bedroom first, where Victoria often took private calls away from the office. The room was a shrine to excess. King-sized bed with silk sheets, walk-in closet bigger than my old apartment, and a balcony overlooking the pool. I pulled a tiny recording device from my pocket, a bug no bigger than a button, wireless and voice-activated, synced to my secure app. I'd smuggled it in weeks ago, waiting for the right moment. Kneeling by the nightstand, I affixed it under the drawer, out of sight. Testing 1, 2, I whispered, then checked my phone, crystal clear audio. Good. Next, the home office. I eased the door open, the scent of her expensive perfume still hanging in the air. The computer was off now, but papers were still scattered. I didn't touch those. Instead, I planted another bug behind the bookshelf, wedged between leather-bound volumes that looked like they'd never been read. As I stepped back to admire my work, my phone buzzed softly. An alert from the first bug already? No, just a test ping. But then I heard the front door open downstairs. My stomach dropped. Marcus. He wasn't supposed to be home yet. Footsteps echoed up the stairs, heavy and purposeful. I froze for a split second, then grabbed a stray toy car from the floor, Tyler's. Must have rolled in here somehow and ducked behind the desk just as the door creaked wider. "Elena, what are you doing in here?" Marcus's voice boomed, surprise mixed with that sleazy undertone he always had. He stood in the doorway, loosening his tie, his briefcase in hand. I popped up, holding the toy car like a trophy, forcing a flustered smile. "Oh, Mr. Hargrove. You startled me. Tyler lost his favorite car earlier. He was crying about it during snack time. I thought it might have ended up in here when he was playing tag yesterday. Sorry, I didn't mean to intrude." He eyed me suspiciously, stepping closer and glancing around the room. "In the office? Kids aren't allowed in here. Victoria would flip if she knew." His gaze lingered on the desk, then back to me, a smirk creeping onto his face. "You sure that's all? Not poking around in things that aren't your business?" I shook my head, tucking the toy into my apron pocket. "No, sir. Just looking for this. See?" I held it up again, my voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through me. "Tyler will be thrilled. I can go now if you need the space." Marcus set his briefcase down, leaning against the desk, blocking my path a bit. "No rush. You know, Elena, you've been a real help around here. The kids love you." He paused, his eyes dropping to my blouse for a moment too long. "And honestly, it's nice having someone approachable in the house. Victoria's always so wound up with her charity stuff." I sidestepped toward the door, keeping my tone light. "Thanks, Mr. Hargrove. I appreciate that. But I should check on the kids. The cartoon's probably ending soon." Inside, I was calculating, had he seen anything? The bug was hidden, but if he started searching... He chuckled, straightening up. All right. But hey, if you ever need anything, extra hours, a reference, whatever, just ask. I'm around." His hand brushed my arm as I passed, and I pulled away politely. "Will do. Have a good afternoon." I hurried downstairs, my pulse still racing, and found the kids glued to the TV, oblivious. "Everything okay, Elena?" Sophia asked, looking up with those big eyes. "Yeah, sweetie. Found Tyler's car, see?" I pulled it out, handing it to him. He squealed in delight. "Yay, thanks!" As I sat with them, pretending to watch the show, my mind shifted back to the bugs. They'd capture whatever came next. And sure enough, later that evening, after the family had dinner, Victoria barking orders about the salad not being crisp enough, my phone vibrated with an alert. I slipped to my room during cleanup, locking the door and pulling up the app. The audio from the master bedroom bug played. Victoria's voice, sharp and hushed on a call. "Yes, the transfer to the Cayman account went through. No, don't worry, it's listed as administrative fees. Those donors are idiots. They think it's all going to the families. We'll skim another $50K next quarter." My fist clenched around the phone. Jackpot. She was discussing illegal transfers outright, admitting to embezzling from the charity. I saved the clip, timestamped it, and added it to my evidence folder alongside the spreadsheet glimpses and overheard fragments. This strengthened everything. Now I had her voice on record, tying directly to the fraud. But the close call with Marcus nagged at me. He'd seemed suspicious, and if he mentioned it to Victoria, I couldn't risk that. During bedtime stories with the kids, Sophia snuggled close. "Elena, tell the one about the brave detective again." I smiled, launching into it, but tailored it subtly, about gathering clues without getting caught. Tyler yawned. "Detectives are cool. Do they ever get scared?" "Sometimes," I admitted, tucking him in, "but they keep going for what's right." After lights out, I messaged my handler. New audio evidence secured. Close call with husband, cover intact, proceeding cautiously. Victoria passed me in the hall as I headed downstairs, her eyes narrowing. "Kids asleep? Good. Don't forget to scrub the bathrooms tomorrow, they're filthy." Her tone was laced with that usual contempt, like I was dirt under her shoe. "Yes, Mrs. Hargrove," I replied, biting back the urge to confront her right there. Instead, I nodded and kept moving. This evidence was gold, but I needed more to make it airtight. Maybe catch her in the act with accomplices. The probe was deepening, and her world was about to unravel. Up in my room that night, I reviewed the clip again, the words, "skim another $50K" echoing. It fueled my outrage. These were funds for real people, single moms like the ones she'd pretend to help at galas. I'd seen photos from her events, smiling with donors while pocketing their cash. Marcus knocked on my door later, startling me. "Elena, just checking if you need anything." That toy car story seemed a bit off earlier. I opened the door a crack. "I'm fine, Mr. Hargrove. Really, it was just the toy. Good night." He lingered. "If you're sure?" "Sweet dreams." His footsteps faded, but the encounter left me uneasy. Had he bought the lie? I added a note to my files. Potential suspicion from husband. Monitor closely. The bugs were in place now, listening. Tomorrow I'd push a little more, maybe during cleaning. For now, I lay back, the weight of secrecy pressing down, but the thrill of the hunt keeping me sharp. The morning light streamed into the kitchen the next day, warming the marble counters as I flipped pancakes for the kids. Sophia sat at the table, swinging her legs and humming a little tune, while Tyler stacked his blocks nearby, occasionally knocking them over with a gleeful crash. I kept an eye on them, my mind racing from that audio clip I'd captured last night. Victoria outright admitting to skimming funds meant for struggling families. But after that near miss with Marcus, I knew I couldn't go it alone anymore. I needed someone inside this house who could back me up, someone who'd seen the ugliness firsthand. Maria came in quietly, her footsteps soft on the tile as she started unloading the dishwasher. She was the part-time housekeeper, a kind woman in her 50s with tired eyes and a no-nonsense way about her. I'd seen Victoria snap at her plenty of times, treating her like she was invisible or worse. "Morning, Maria," I said, keeping my voice low while I plated the pancakes. "Kids are almost ready for breakfast. How's your week going?" She glanced at me, wiping her hands on her apron. "Same as always, Elena. Busy. You look like you didn't sleep much. Everything all right?" Sophia piped up before I could answer. "Elena, can I have syrup? Lots of it." I smiled and drizzled some on her plate. "Here you go, sweetie." "Not too much, or you'll be bouncing off the walls." Tyler reached for his, smearing butter with his fingers. "Me too, sticky." As the kids dug in, I turned back to Maria, stepping closer so the children wouldn't overhear. "Actually, not great. Remember that loud argument in the kitchen Tuesday evening? Mrs. Hargrove." She slapped me, hard, over some stupid leftovers, called me a thief and everything. My cheeks still sore. Maria's face tightened, her eyes widening as she set down a stack of plates. "I heard it, Elena. I was in the laundry room folding towels when her voice carried, screaming about you being a lowlife, then that sharp smack and the plate shattering. I peeked out right after and saw you stumbling back, hand on your face, lip bleeding a bit. She was still ranting as you left. I didn't say anything then, didn't want to make it worse, but that's not right. She's crossed lines with me too, but physical, no." I felt a rush of relief mixed with that burning outrage from the slap. Maria had seen the aftermath directly, the bruise forming, the broken shards on the floor, Victoria's flushed face. That made her a solid witness, not just hearsay. "Thanks for saying that. It means a lot. She's always belittling us like we're nothing because we don't have her money. Yelling at you about the cleaning, accusing you of stuff. I've put up with it for the job, but after that slap, I'm done swallowing it all." Maria nodded, her expression hardening as she glanced toward the hallway to make sure Victoria wasn't coming. "You're right. Last year, she blamed me for a missing bracelet, turned my purse inside out in front of her friends. Humiliating. Turned out it was under her bed. No, sorry, just clean better next time. And the way she talks about poor folks like at her charity events, pretending to care while mocking them behind closed doors, makes my blood boil. My own family's struggled. I know what it's like." Tyler laughed suddenly, his mouth full of pancake. "Look, Elena, I made a tower with blocks." I knelt down quickly, helping him steady it. "Wow, buddy, that's tall. Good job." Sophia joined in, adding a block of her own. "Now it's a castle." I stood back up, keeping the conversation going with Maria while the kids played. Exactly. I've overheard her on calls, sounding like she's not really helping those donors, mostly lower-class families giving what little they have. If you've seen anything like that, it could help. I'm looking into it quietly. For all of us, she's treated like dirt. Maria hesitated, crossing her arms and looking at the floor for a moment. "I don't know, Elena. Getting involved could cost me my job, but yeah, I've seen things. A few months back, I was vacuuming her office, and she left her computer open. An email popped up to her accountant, I think. It said something like, 'Divert the donations from those lower-class suckers to the personal fund. Make it look like admin fees they won't notice.' Full of disdain, calling them idiots for trusting her. I snapped a quick photo on my phone before she came back, just in case. Hid it in a password-protected album, didn't want her finding it if she searched my stuff again. My heart skipped a beat. That email tied directly to the fraud, echoing the audio I'd captured. Funds diverted from vulnerable donors, with Victoria's contempt for lower-class people laid bare. It supported the embezzlement case perfectly, showing not just the crime but her heartless attitude toward the victims. Maria, that's huge. She's robbing families who need that money for basics, all while slapping us around. If you're willing, could you show me? We could use it to stand up to her somehow. She paused, her eyes searching mine, the hesitation clear in the way she fiddled with her apron. I shouldn't. But after what she did to you, and how she's treated me, like I'm trash because I clean her messes. Yeah, we deserve better. Those poor donors do too. Let's talk more at lunch, away from here. Victoria breezed in then, her phone buzzing in her hand. Elena, are the kids fed? Maria, why isn't the living room dusted yet? I swear. You two move like snails. She poured herself coffee, her tone dripping with that familiar disdain, not even glancing at us. Yes, Mrs. Hargrove, I said evenly, clearing the kids' plates. They're all set. I'll take them to play now, Maria muttered. Dusting next, ma'am, and grabbed her supplies. Victoria huffed. Better be spotless. And Elena, don't let them make a mess. She stormed off to her office, slamming the door behind her. I got the kids into the playroom, setting them up with crayons and paper. Draw me a picture, okay? I'll be back soon. Sophia nodded. A rainbow for you, Elena. Tyler scribbled enthusiastically. Car. During lunch break, Maria and I slipped into the small staff nook off the kitchen, a cramped space with a table and chairs away from prying ears. I made us simple sandwiches, a turkey and cheese on wheat, and we sat down. All right, show me that email, I said, keeping my voice low. Maria pulled out her phone, an older model she kept in her locker, and opened the hidden album. Here, I buried it deep, no way she'd find it without the code. Sent a copy to my sister, too, just in case. She handed it over, and I zoomed in on the screen. There it was, Victoria's email addressed to an accountant, with lines like, these lower-class donors are fools. Divert their contributions to the Cayman account under program expenses. They'll never check. The disdain jumped off the page, calling them suckers who deserve to be fleeced. It was perfect evidence. Fun diversion instructions mixed with her hatred for the very people her charity pretended to help. God, this is awful, I whispered, snapping a photo of her screen with my secure phone. She's not just stealing, she's enjoying it. Thanks for sharing, Maria. This proves her pattern, the abuse toward us, the fraud toward them. I'm working with people who can stop her, but quietly. Your witness to the slap in this? It could seal it. You in? She took a deep breath, biting into her sandwich before nodding firmly. Yeah, for my family, for those donors, for us. She's gotten away with too much. Just tell me what to do. I won't let her bully us anymore. We finished lunch, the alliance feeling solid now, born from shared humiliation and that righteous anger bubbling up. Back to duties, I took the kids outside for fresh air, watching them chase butterflies in the garden. Sophia laughed. Catch one, Elena! I joined in, but my mind was on the evidence. Later, in a quiet moment while the kids napped, I slipped to my basement room and logged the email photo into my secure FBI folder. Alongside the audio clip and spreadsheets, it all fit. The diversions, the disdain, the abuses. I pulled up the encrypted app and messaged my handler. New witness to assault and email evidence. Of donor disdain, fund diversion. Alliance secure. Requesting backup plan. Paranoia increasing here. His reply pinged back. Copy, evidence strong, hold tight, warrants in motion. As I put the phone away, I heard Victoria upstairs, her voice sharper than usual on a call. Lock everything down, no loose ends. Her paranoia was ramping up like she sensed something closing in. Little did she know, with Maria on my side, we were one step closer to bringing it all down. The next morning after forming that alliance with Maria, I was in the living room with the kids, sunlight pouring through the big bay windows and making patterns on the rug. Sophia was curled up on the couch with her favorite book, sounding out words softly to herself, while Tyler built a wobbly tower with his wooden blocks on the floor, knocking it down every few minutes with a big grin. Again! He shouted, clapping his hands. I sat cross-legged beside him, stacking a few blocks to help. But my thoughts kept drifting to the evidence we'd gathered. The audio of Victoria admitting to those illegal transfers, and Maria's email photo showing her, sneering at the lower-class suckers she was robbing. It was solid, but I needed more to nail her accomplices. Maria walked by with a dusting cloth, pausing at the doorway. "She's been pacing in her office all morning," she whispered, glancing back down the hall. "Snapping at calls, thinks something's off, watch yourself." I nodded, keeping my voice low so the kids wouldn't hear. "Thanks for the heads up. If she says anything, act normal." Sophia looked up from her book. "Elena, read this part. The princess is stuck." I scooted over to her, taking the book and reading aloud about the brave princess escaping a tower. "See? She figures it out step by step," I said, ruffling her hair. Tyler toddled over, plopping down beside us. "Princess, me too!" That's when Victoria's voice cut through from the hallway, sharp and loud enough to make me tense. "Elena, come here right now!" The kids froze for a second, but I smiled at them quickly. "Keep reading to your brother, Sophia. I'll be back in a minute. It's just about chores." I stood up and walked down the hall to her office, my heart beating a little faster. The door was open, and Victoria stood there with her arms crossed, holding up a small black pen. Mine, actually, from when I'd been cleaning the day before. I'd left it on the edge of a shelf accidentally, or maybe not so accidentally, to test if she'd noticed small things out of place. She thrust the pen toward me as I stepped inside. "What the hell is this doing on my desk? Near my private files? You've been snooping. Haven't you? Stealing, maybe? I knew hiring someone like you was a mistake." I kept my expression neutral, hands at my sides, even though her accusation stung like salt in a wound. "Mrs. Hargrove, that's my pen. I must have dropped it yesterday while dusting the shelves. I wasn't snooping, I was just cleaning, like you asked. I'm sorry if it ended up there." She laughed, a cold, mocking sound, stepping closer with that superior look on her face. "Dropped it, please. People from your poor background always have sticky fingers, thinking you can take what's not yours because you grew up with nothing. I give you a job out of pity, a roof over your head, and this is how you repay me? Poking around my office? Probably trying to find something to sell or blackmail me with. You're nothing but a low-class opportunist." Her words hit hard, that power trip dripping from every syllable, making me feel small in that fancy room with its leather chairs and crystal paperweights. But I bit my tongue, remembering my cover. Blowing it now would tank the whole investigation. "I swear it was an accident. I need this job, Mrs. Hargrove. The kids count on me, and I've done everything you've asked. Please don't think that about me. I come from a hardworking family. We don't steal." Victoria leaned against her desk, her eyes narrowing as she waved a hand dismissively. "Hardworking? Spare me the sob story. I built this life from the ground up, and I won't let some uneducated nanny from the wrong side of town ruin it. Stay away from my office from now on. No more cleaning in here without me watching. If I catch you near my things again, you're fired on the spot. No references, no nothing. I'll make sure every agency knows you're a thief. Who'd hire you then? You'd be flipping burgers or worse." I nodded slowly, forcing my voice to stay steady, even as the humiliation burned in my chest. "I understand. It won't happen again. Can I go back to the kids now? They're waiting for story time." She pointed to the door. "Get out and send Maria in. I need this room vacuumed properly for once." I turned and left, closing the door softly behind me, my mind already shifting to the plan. In my apron pocket, I had a pre-written sticky note I'd prepared last night after Maria's warning, a simple bait to rattle her, make her think someone close was leaking info. It read, "Usual spot. Transfers, tighten up." Neutral, no names, just enough to suggest an inside job on her fraud scheme. As I walked back to the living room, I glanced around, no one in sight. I slipped back into the office hallway quickly, pretending to pick up a stray toy from the floor near her door. With a subtle flick, I let the note drop and slide under the edge of her office rug, where she'd spot it later when pacing or moving furniture. It looked like it could have fallen from her own papers. Low risk, no eyes on me. Back with the kids, Sophia held up her book. "Elena, you okay?" Mommy sounded mad. I sat down, pulling Tyler onto my lap. "She's just busy, sweetie. Let's finish the story. The princess is about to win." I read on, describing how she outsmarted the dragon, but my phone buzzed softly in my pocket a couple hours later during nap time. It was an alert from the office bug I'd planted. I stepped into the hallway and listened on my earbud, Victoria's voice tense and low on a call. I found a pen on my desk, probably the nanny snooping. "We might have a leak. Tighten up the transfers, no more loose ends. Those charity funds stay hidden." My fist clenched. Jackpot. She was reacting to the suspicion from the pen, contacting an accomplice to cover her tracks on the embezzlement. It confirmed everything, her paranoia pushing her to reference the illegal diversions right on tape. I saved the snippet to my secure folder, adding it to the audio from before and Maria's email photo. This was escalating, her threat to fire me turning into fuel for the case. The rest of the afternoon passed with kid routines, snacks in the kitchen, where Tyler smeared yogurt on his shirt and laughed about it, and Sophia drew pictures of us all as a family. "You're in it too, Elena," she said, handing me the crayon drawing. It tugged at my heart, these innocents in the middle of her mess. Maria caught my eye while wiping counters. She had me vacuum the office, grilled me about that pen. "Thinks it's us." "Stay cool," I whispered back. "It's working." Marcus got home around 5, hanging his coat in the foyer. "Afternoon, Elena." "Kids behaving?" he asked, his tone light as he headed upstairs without waiting for much of an answer. "Fine as always, Mr. Hargrove," I called, keeping it brief. By evening, I was setting the table for dinner, roast chicken, veggies, and rice. When Victoria came down, her face still tight. She sat at the head, pouring wine without a word. Marcus joined, kissing her cheek. "Rough day, hon." She shot me a cold glance as I served the plates. "You could say that." "Elena, this better not be overcooked like last time." Her contempt hung in the air, that power trip from earlier still simmering. Sophia poked at her veggies. "I like Elena's cooking, Mommy." Victoria ignored her, turning to Marcus. "We need to discuss staff issues later, privately." Dinner dragged, with Tyler babbling about his blocks and Sophia asking innocent questions about the day. I cleared dishes quietly, catching Victoria muttering to herself in the study afterward, rummaging around. That's when she must have found the sticky note. I heard paper crinkling through the cracked door. Then her sharp intake of breath. "What is this? A leak for sure. I'll handle it tomorrow, usual spot." I slipped away to help with baths, getting the kids into pajamas. "Story time?" Tyler yawned, hugging his stuffed bear. I nodded, reading about adventures until their eyes drooped. Tucking them in, Sophia whispered, "Don't let Mommy be mean to you." I kissed her forehead. "I won't, sweetie. Sleep tight." Down in my basement room that night, I locked the door and pulled up the app, replaying the new audio snippet. Victoria's voice rattled, tightening her fraud web because of my bait. It set the trap perfectly. She'd reach out to her accomplices now, and I'd be ready to intercept. The humiliation from her threats fueled me, but this reversal was mine. Tomorrow, her paranoia would lead straight to the climax of this investigation. The day after that tense argument in Victoria's office, where she'd threatened to fire me over that misplaced pen and belittled my so-called poor background like I was some kind of criminal, I woke up early in my basement room, the faint light from the small window barely cutting through the gloom. My cheek from the original slap had faded to a yellow bruise, but the sting of her words lingered, fueling that fire inside me to expose her. I'd planted that sticky note bait, usual spot. Transfers, tighten up. And the bug had caught her reacting, calling someone about a leak and tightening the charity fund diversions. Now, I needed to capitalize on it. I checked my secure phone app first thing, and sure enough, another alert popped up from the office bug overnight. Victoria's voice, hushed and urgent on a late call. "We need to meet today, here at the house. Bring the docs. This leak could ruin everything." My heart raced as I saved the clip. She was drawing her accomplices right to me. I got upstairs to the kitchen, starting breakfast for the kids like any other morning. Sophia came in rubbing her eyes, her pajamas twisted from sleep. "Elena, can we have waffles today with strawberries?" she asked, climbing onto her stool. I smiled and pulled out the waffle iron. "Sure, sweetie, coming right up." Tyler toddled in behind her, clutching his toy truck. "Waffles, vroom, vroom!" He revved the truck on the counter, and I laughed, pouring batter while keeping an ear out for Victoria. Maria slipped in to grab cleaning supplies, and I leaned close as I flipped the waffles. "She's having a meeting today, business partners at the house. Stay alert, but act normal." Maria nodded, wiping down the fridge. "I heard her on the phone last night when I was finishing up." Sounded panicked. "If you need me to distract, just say." Victoria stormed in then, her hair perfect but her face tense, grabbing coffee without a word. She glanced at me sharply. "Elena, keep the kids out of the way this afternoon. I have important guests, don't let them interrupt." Her tone was clipped, that contempt still there, like I was an annoyance she could barely tolerate. "Yes, Mrs. Hargrove," I replied, plating the waffles and adding strawberries. "I'll take them to the park after lunch." She huffed and left for her office, slamming the door. Sophia looked at me with wide eyes. Mommy's grumpy again. I cut her waffle into pieces. She's just busy, kiddo. Eat up, we'll have fun later. As the kids ate, chattering about their toys, I planned my move. The meeting was my chance to intercept, record everything. I had my hidden camera pen ready, plus the bugs already in place. This could be the climax, catching her and her partners discussing the cover-up. After breakfast, I got the kids dressed, Sophia in her sundress, Tyler in shorts, and we played in the living room while I cleaned nearby. Maria vacuumed the hall, giving me updates in whispers. Her car's pulling up soon. 2 guests from what I saw on the calendar. Marcus left for work early, waving goodbye without much notice. See you tonight, Elena. Keep things running smooth. He patted Tyler's head and was gone. Victoria paced in her office, her heels clicking, and I overheard her muttering through the door. This better not be a setup. Those funds are locked tight. Lunch came and went, sandwiches for the kids, with me eating quickly in the kitchen. Elena, story after Park? Tyler asked, his mouth full. I wiped his chin. You bet, buddy. But as I cleared plates, the front door opened. Victoria's voice echoed from the foyer. In here, gentlemen. We don't have much time. 2 men entered, one older with a briefcase, probably her accountant, and a younger guy in a suit, maybe a lawyer or partner. They headed straight to the office, door shutting behind them. My pulse quickened. This was it. I told the kids, nap time first, then park. Let's go upstairs quietly. Sophia whined a little. But I'm not tired. I scooped her up. Just rest a bit, Mommy's working. I got them settled in their rooms with soft music playing, doors cracked so I could hear if they stirred. Then I slipped downstairs, grabbing a dusting rag as cover. Maria was in the laundry room. They're in there now. I'll keep watch from here, she whispered. I nodded and moved to the hallway outside the office, pretending to dust the baseboards. The bug in my earbud fed me the audio live, but I needed visuals too. The door was solid, no keyhole, but there was a small vent near the floor. I knelt down, angling my camera pen through the slats, just enough to capture faces and documents. Inside, Victoria's voice came clear. We have a potential leak, some note I found. Tighten the transfers immediately. Those charity donations need to look clean. The accountant spread papers on the desk. We've already diverted over $200K this quarter to the offshore accounts. But if someone's talking, we frame it on ex-employees. Like that last nanny we fired, pull her info, make it look like she accessed the files. My blood ran cold as I recorded. The younger guy nodded. Identity theft's easy. We've done it before. Steal their SSNs, open accounts in their names, route small amounts to make them look guilty. Victoria, you have files on current staff too. That Morales girl. Her background check has everything. Victoria laughed, that cold sound. Oh yes, Elena's poor background makes her perfect to frame. If things go south, we pin the embezzlement on her. She's disposable anyway, already threatened to fire her. I froze there on the floor, the camera steady but my hands shaking. This was the twist, not just fraud, but identity theft from former employees, and now planning to frame me. It tied directly to how she'd treated me, that contempt turning into a real threat to ruin my life. All those belittlings, the slap. It wasn't just arrogance. It was part of her pattern to control and destroy lower-class people, like me and Maria. I captured it all. The documents showing stolen IDs, fake accounts, and links to the charity scams. The stakes skyrocketed. If my cover blew now, I'd be framed for her crimes. They wrapped up after 20 minutes, voices lowering. Meet again next week if needed. Burn any loose papers. I pulled back the pen just as the door opened, standing up quickly with my rag. Victoria stepped out first, her eyes narrowing at me. What are you doing here, Elena? I told you to keep the kids away. Just dusting the hall, Mrs. Hargrove, I said, keeping my voice even. They're napping upstairs. The men brushed past, nodding politely, and left. Victoria stared me down. Don't let me catch you eavesdropping again. Get back to work. She slammed back into the office, her paranoia thick in the air. I retreated to the kitchen, heart pounding, and messaged my handler quickly. Intercepted meeting. New evidence. Identity theft from ex-employees. Plan to frame me. Audio and video secured. Advise immediate action. Maria came in, eyes wide. You get it? I nodded. Yeah, and it's worse than we thought. She's stealing identities too, framing people like us. Sophia called from upstairs then. Elena, nap's over. I headed up, forcing a smile as I got them ready for the park. Let's go swing, you two. At the park, Tyler laughed on the swings, pushing higher. Faster! Sophia drew in the sand. Look, a house like ours. But my mind was on that recording, the proof of her covering up the fraud, the identity theft twist heightening everything. She'd tried to silence me with threats, but this was my counterattack, turning her paranoia against her. Back home, as I prepped dinner, Victoria was quieter, locking her office and glancing at me suspiciously. "Kids behave at the park?" she asked, pouring wine. I set the table. "Yes, ma'am, had fun." Marcus came in later, loosening his tie. "Smells good, Elena." Dinner was tense, with Victoria picking at her food. "This sauce is too salty," she complained, her eyes darting. Sophia chattered about the swings, but Victoria snapped. "Quiet, Sophia. Eat." After tucking the kids in, reading them a story about clever foxes outsmarting wolves, I slipped to my room and reviewed the video. Clear shots of the documents, their faces, the discussion. The identity theft revelation tied back to her treatment. The slap, the belittlings. Now escalated to framing innocence. It made her crimes personal, endangering me and others. Her paranoia was peaking. She'd slip soon. This climax had armed me for the endgame, but one wrong move and I'd be the one framed. Later that night, intercepting that chilling meeting in Victoria's office, where she'd plotted with her accomplices to cover up the fraud and even frame me with identity. Theft using my background check details, I knew it was time to strike back. My basement room felt even smaller as I sat on the edge of the bed, reviewing the video and audio one last time on my secure laptop. The clear shots of those documents showing stolen SSNs, fake accounts opened in ex-employees' names, and her laughing about pinning it all on disposable people like me. The outrage boiled inside me, mixing with the lingering humiliation from her slap and all those belittling comments about my poor background. But now, armed with videos, emails from Maria, witness statements she'd given me in writing about the abuses, and the recordings tying it to the embezzlement, I had everything. I messaged my handler, evidence locked, ready for takedown tonight, family dinner. His reply came quick. "Team en route, hold until signal." I headed upstairs to start the day, the estate's luxury feeling more like a prison with every step. Sophia and Tyler were already in the kitchen, Sophia coloring at the table while Tyler banged pots like drums. "Elena, make pancakes, please," Sophia asked, her crayons pausing. I forced a smile, pulling out the mix. "You got it, kiddo, with chocolate chips today." Tyler cheered. "Chalky!" As I cooked, flipping the pancakes and watching them bubble, Maria came in with laundry. "You okay after yesterday? That meeting sounded intense from the hall," she whispered, folding towels. I nodded, plating the food. "Yeah, but today's the day. Stay close. Might need your witness statement ready." Victoria swept in then, her heels clicking, grabbing her usual coffee. She looked at me with that narrowed gaze, her paranoia still high from finding my bait note. "Elena, dinner tonight needs to be perfect. Marcus is bringing work friends, no mistakes, or you're out." Her voice dripped with contempt. Like I was still the low-class nanny she could threaten at will. "Yes, Mrs. Hargrove, I'll handle it," I said, handing the kids their plates. She huffed and left for her office, muttering about unreliable help. Sophia tugged my sleeve. "Why's Mommy always mad at you?" I knelt down, cutting Tyler's pancake. "Grown-ups get stressed sometimes, sweetie, but eat up. We'll play games after." The morning blurred into routines, taking the kids to the garden, where Tyler chased butterflies and Sophia picked flowers, weaving them into a crown for me. "You're the queen, Elena," she giggled, placing it on my head. I laughed with them, but inside the weight of the deception hit hard. These kids had no idea their mom was a monster. Stealing from families like theirs might have been without the wealth, framing innocence to cover her tracks. "Thanks, princess. You're the best," I said, hugging her. Back inside, I prepped dinner early, roast beef, mashed potatoes, veggies, chopping carrots while listening to the office bug. Victoria was on a call. "Everything's secure after yesterday, no leaks." Little did she know. Maria helped set the table later, her hands steady as she placed napkins. "I signed that statement last night about the slap, the yelling, how I saw your bruise and the broken plate right after, and the email photos attached." "You sure about tonight?" she asked quietly. I stirred the gravy, the steam rising. "Positive. Agents will be here by 7. Just act normal." The kids napped upstairs, giving me time to hide my FBI badge and gun in my apron pocket. Ready for the reveal. Marcus got home around 6, loosening his tie in the foyer. "Smells amazing, Elena." Big night, closing a deal. He patted my shoulder a bit too long, that creepy vibe still there. Thanks, Mr. Hargrove. Dinner's almost ready, I said, stepping away. Victoria emerged from her office, dressed up in her pearls and silk blouse, her face a mask of fake composure. No guests after all. Marcus's deal fell through. Just family tonight. She eyed me suspiciously as I served the plates. This better not be dry. We sat down, Victoria at the head, Marcus beside her, the kids across, me at the end like always. Sophia chatted about her flower crown. Elena wore it all day, Mommy. Victoria forced a smile. That's nice, dear. Eat your veggies. Tyler mashed his potatoes, giggling. Squishy. Marcus laughed. Kids got spirit. Elena, you've done wonders with them. I took a breath, my fork pausing over the beef. This was the moment, the counterattack. Actually, Mr. Hargrove, Mrs. Hargrove, there's something I need to say. Victoria's head snapped up, her knife clinking the plate. What now? If it's about a raise, forget it. You're lucky to have this job. I stood slowly, reaching into my pocket and pulling out my badge, holding it up so the gold caught the chandelier light. My name isn't Elena Morales. It's Agent Elena Ramirez, FBI. I've been undercover here for months, investigating your charity fraud. Victoria's face drained of color, her wine glass tipping slightly. What? This is ridiculous. You're fired. Get out. Marcus stared, his mouth open. Elena? What's going on? This a joke? No joke, I said, my voice steady as I pulled out my phone. Queuing up the video from yesterday's meeting. It started with tips about embezzlement, siphoning donations from vulnerable families into your offshore accounts. But it got deeper. Identity theft, framing ex-employees. I have it all. Recordings, emails, videos of you discussing it right here in your office. Sophia whispered, Elena, you're a police. Tyler looked confused, clutching his fork. I knelt beside them quickly. I'm a good guy, kids, helping people. Victoria slammed her hand on the table. Lies! You have nothing! You're just a bitter nanny, poor trash trying to extort us. Marcus, call the lawyer. Marcus fumbled for his phone. Victoria, calm down, Elena agent. Whatever, this can't be real. Show us proof. I hit play on the video, holding it up. Their voices filled the room. Victoria saying, pin it on Elena. Her poor background makes her perfect. The accountant mentioning stolen SSNs, fake accounts. Victoria's denial cracked, her eyes wide. How? That's edited. Fake. But Maria stepped in from the kitchen doorway, her statement paper in hand. It's real, Mrs. Hargrove. I witnessed the abuses, the slap over leftovers. I saw the bruise, heard you call her a thief. And I have emails proving the disdain for those donors you robbed. Victoria lunged forward. You traitor! Both of you, out! But my phone buzzed, the signal. I opened the front door app on my watch, and agents burst in, badges out, guns holstered but ready. FBI, Victoria Hargrove, you're under arrest for embezzlement, fraud, identity theft, and assault. She backed against the wall, shaking her head. No, this is my house. You can't. An agent cuffed her gently, reading rights. You have the right to remain silent. Marcus stood frozen. Victoria, what did you do? The kids started crying, Sophia clinging to me. Elena, don't let them take Mommy. I hugged her tight, tears pricking my eyes. It's okay, sweetie. Mommy did some bad things, but you'll be safe with Daddy. Agents led Victoria out, her screams echoing. You'll pay for this, you low-life bitch. The slap, that humiliating moment over leftovers flashed in my mind. It was the catalyst, sealing her fate, pushing me to end this. As they loaded her into the van outside, the estate's lights flashing blue and red, I handed Marcus the kids' favorite toys. Take care of them. The fraud's exposed. Your accounts are frozen. He nodded numbly. I had no idea. Thank you, I guess. Maria squeezed my arm. We did it. The counterattack was done, her empire cracking, justice starting. The chaos from the dinner reveal lingered in the air like smoke after a fire. The blue and red lights from the FBI vans flashing through the estate's windows as agents led. Victoria out in cuffs. She twisted against them, her pearls swinging wildly, screaming at me over her shoulder. You'll regret this, you lying bitch. I treated you like family. And this is how you repay me, framing me with your fake evidence? One agent guided her firmly, into the van, her heels scraping the driveway gravel. Marcus stood in the doorway, holding Sophia and Tyler close as they cried, their little faces buried in his shirt. Daddy, why are they taking Mommy? Sophia sobbed, clutching her napkin from dinner. Tyler wailed louder. Mommy, come back! I knelt down beside them in the foyer, my FBI badge still clipped to my shirt, trying to keep my voice soft amid the commotion. Hey, sweeties, remember how I said I'm a good guy helping people? Your mommy did some things that hurt others, like taking money that wasn't hers. The agents are just making sure everyone plays fair. Sophia looked up at me with tear-streaked cheeks. But you're Elena. You're our nanny. Why did you lie? Her words hit like a punch. The emotional toll of my undercover role crashing down. I'd bonded with these kids over months, reading stories, chasing them in the garden, wiping their tears. Tyler reached for me, his tiny hand grabbing my sleeve. Don't go, Elena. Stay. Marcus pulled them back gently, his face pale under the porch light. Agent Ramirez, is it? I can't believe this. Victoria always handled the charity stuff. I thought it was legit. What happens now? He glanced at the van as it pulled away, Victoria's muffled shouts fading. I stood up, handing him a card from my pocket. The FBI will freeze your accounts tonight, anything tied to the fraud. You'll need a lawyer for yourself, but from what I saw, you weren't involved. Focus on the kids. They'll need you stable. He nodded numbly, shifting Tyler to his other hip. And the house? Our life? Sophia interrupted, sniffling. Daddy, is Mommy coming home soon? One of the agents approached us, a tall woman with a clipboard. Mr. Hargrove, we'll need statements from you and the staff. The exposure's already hitting the news. Tips we planted to go public right after the arrest. She showed him her phone screen, where a breaking headline flashed, Socialite Victoria Hargrove arrested for charity embezzlement and identity theft. Marcus's eyes widened. Oh, God. The gala donors, our friends, they'll all see this. I watched his world crumble, the empire Victoria built on stolen money starting to collapse. It's bad, but necessary. She defrauded families who needed that help, framed innocent workers like me and Maria to cover it. Maria stepped out from the kitchen, her arms crossed, watching the vans drive off. Finally, that woman's been poisoned for years, yelling at us, slapping you over leftovers like you were nothing. She turned to Marcus. You saw how she treated us, sir. Called us low-class trash while she stole from people worse off. Marcus rubbed his forehead, sitting on the entry bench with the kids. I turned a blind eye. The leering, the snaps, I thought it was stress. But identity theft, framing ex-nannies? Jesus. Sophia climbed into his lap. What's identity theft, Daddy? He hugged her. Something bad Mommy did. We'll talk later, okay? Elena, agent, will you stay a bit? They know you. I hesitated, glancing at my handler outside, who nodded approval. Sure, for a little while. Let's get them to bed. We headed upstairs, the kids' room still cozy with their stuffed animals and nightlights. Tyler yawned as I tucked him in, his eyes heavy. Story, Elena? I sat on the bed's edge, picking up their favorite book about brave animals. Once upon a time, there was a clever fox who outsmarted the sneaky wolf. Sophia listened from her bed across the room, her thumb in her mouth. Is Mommy the wolf? She asked quietly. I paused, closing the book halfway. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, like the wolf. But the fox helps fix things so everyone can be safe. Marcus leaned in the doorway, watching us. Thanks for this. They're attached to you. I finished the story, kissing their foreheads. Sleep tight, you two. Tomorrow's a new day. As they drifted off, I followed Marcus back downstairs, where agents were sealing the office with tape. The fallout's just starting, I said, sitting at the kitchen island. Her reputation's ruined. News outlets will dig into every charity event, every donor she mocked as lower-class suckers. Lawsuits from victims will strip her assets. Maria poured us coffee, joining us. Good. She deserves it, after how she humiliated us, threatened to fire me over nothing, accused me of stealing that necklace she lost herself. Marcus sipped his coffee, staring into the cup. I found papers last month, odd transfers. She said it was business. Now, embezzlement, assault on you, identity theft. Charges will stick? I nodded, pulling up my phone to show him a summary email from my handler. Multiple counts. The video from yesterday's meeting seals it. Her admitting to framing people, stealing SSNs to open fake accounts, plus Maria's witness to the slap and abuses. Maria chimed in. And that email I gave you, showing her disdain for the poor families she robbed. It's all connected. He set his cup down hard. Those kids upstairs, they'll grow up without her. Therapy, questions from school friends, the emotional toll. His voice cracked. I leaned forward. I know. I cared for them like my own, even if it was a cover. It hurt deceiving them, seeing their innocent faces while I gathered evidence. But think of the future victims I protected, single moms losing rent money to her scams, ex-workers framed and jobless. Maria patted his arm. We'll help with the kids if you need. I've been here years. Agents wrapped up, one handing Marcus a folder. Court dates set. Bail denied due to flight risk, her offshore accounts. As they left, the house fell quiet, the empire's crumble echoing in the empty halls. Victoria's photos on the walls seemed mocking now, her smiling face hiding the thief beneath. I stood to go, grabbing my jacket. I'll check in tomorrow, get some rest. Marcus walked me to the door. Agent Ramirez, why us? Why go undercover here? I paused on the steps. Tips led us to her charity. But staying, it was the kids, the abuses I saw. Justice for people like Maria and me. Driving away, the estate shrinking in my rear view, I felt the weight lift a bit. The public exposure was exploding. My phone buzzed with news alerts, Hargrove scandal, millions embezzled, identities stolen. Her reputation in ruins, charges piling up for embezzlement, assault from the slap, identity theft. Lawsuits from defrauded families would take the rest, house, yachts, everything. The emotional toll on me hit during the drive, tears blurring the road as I thought of Sophia's confused eyes, Tyler's hugs. I'd deceived them, but for the greater good, protecting innocence from her schemes, ensuring no more slaps or framings. Solace came in knowing I'd stopped her, turning her contempt into her downfall. Back at the FBI safe house that night, I unpacked my nanny disguise, folding the apron neatly. My handler called. Great work, Ramirez. Prelim charges filed. She'll face trial soon. Victims are coming forward. I leaned against the wall. Good. But the kids... They'll be okay? He paused. With therapy, yeah. You did right by them too, exposing the toxic home. Hanging up, I stared at the ceiling, the fallout settling. Victoria's empire gone, justice rolling in like a wave. Several months later, I walked back into FBI headquarters for the first time since wrapping up the Hargrove case. The familiar hum of printers and murmured conversations welcoming me like an old friend. My suit felt crisp against my skin, a far cry from the nanny uniforms I'd worn for so long. And I carried a box of files under one arm as I headed to the debrief room. My handler was waiting there, leaning against the table with a stack of reports in front of him. His tie loosened like always after a long day. Ramirez, good to see you back in action, he said, extending a hand for a firm shake. The director signed off on your commendation this morning, exceptional undercover work. That evidence you gathered, it made the case airtight. Sit, let's go over the closeout. I dropped into the chair across from him, setting the box down with a thud, the weight of those months lifting just a bit more. Thanks, it's good to be back. Feels strange without the kids tugging at my sleeves or Victoria barking orders. He nodded, flipping open a folder. I bet, but you did solid work. The prosecutors filed the final charges weeks ago. Embezzlement for siphoning those charity funds. Identity theft for stealing SSNs and setting up fake accounts to frame ex-employees. Assault for that slap she gave you over the leftovers. She's accepted a plea deal with a recommended sentence of 15 years. Sentencing hearings next month, but it's looking firm. No bail, they cited flight risk with her offshore ties. I leaned forward, scanning the report he pushed toward me. And the assets, the estate, the yachts? He tapped a line on the page. Under federal forfeiture order now, pending final court approval. Auctions starting soon to cover restitution. Victims are coming forward. Those families she defrauded are getting checks already. Partial payouts from the recovered funds. Over $1 million so far going to rent, medical bills, school supplies for kids who needed it. Maria's face flashed in my mind as he spoke, and I pulled out my phone to show him a recent text from her. Speaking of updates, Maria's still at the house. She says Marcus gave her a raise and more say in things. No more being treated like dirt. Feels like I can breathe now, she wrote. And the kids, they're in therapy, adjusting. He glanced at the screen, where she'd attached a photo of Sophia and Tyler drawing at the kitchen table. Their smiles tentative but real. That's the payoff, right? You bonded with them. Had to be tough revealing at that family dinner. No guests, just the shock hitting home. I nodded, my throat tightening a little. It was. Sophia asking if I was the bad guy for lying. Tyler crying for his mommy as the agents cuffed her. But knowing I stopped Victoria's toxicity from poisoning them further, that's what gets me through. He closed the folder, leaning back with a satisfied grin. Well, the commendation's just the start. Director wants you on a panel next week, sharing lessons from the op. Personal growth stuff too, huh? You look steadier. I stood up, pacing to the window overlooking the city lights starting to flicker on. Yeah, going undercover as Elena Morales taught me a lot. Enduring her contempt, that slap burning my cheek while she called me a low-life thief. It humbled me, but empowered me too. I learned to never underestimate the powerless. Justice can come from the most unexpected places, like a lowly nanny turning the tables. He chuckled softly. And the message for everyone. Treat service workers with dignity, maids, nannies, the help. They're people, not disposable. I turned back to him, crossing my arms. Exactly. Victoria's disdain for anyone beneath her, mocking those lower-class donors while stealing their money, it backfired. Now her reputation's destroyed. Social media's ripping her apart. Old friends distancing themselves. Lawsuits from victims are piling up, targeting what's left of her wealth. Maria called right then, her voice bright through the speaker as I answered. Elena, Agent Ramirez, hi, just wanted to say thanks again. The house is quieter, better. Marcus is coping, focusing on the kids. Therapy's helping. Sophia drew a picture of you as a superhero yesterday. I smiled, leaning against the wall. That's sweet. Tell her hi for me. And you? Feeling respected now? She laughed lightly. Oh yeah, no more threats or belittling. I even advocated for better hours, got 'em. Your courage rubbed off. We chatted a minute more, her updating me on a victim she'd connected with through the news. A single mom getting restitution for her kid's education fund that Victoria had skimmed. It's like ripples, you know? You stopped her and now people are healing. Hanging up, I felt that warm satisfaction spread, the outrage from her abuses fading into triumph. My handler gathered his papers, standing up. See? Wins all around. Victims helped. Kids safe. You back here with a shiny commendation. Ready for the next case? White-collar ring in the city, briefing tomorrow. I grabbed my box, heading for the door with him. Absolutely. This op changed me, made me stronger, more purposeful. No more swallowing injustice. I'll keep fighting for the overlooked. We walked out together, the hallway lights bright overhead, and as I stepped into the elevator, a letter slipped from the box. A thank you from one of the cleared ex-nannies. You gave me my life back. No more framed charges hanging over me. Thank you for seeing us. I tucked it away, empowered, the closure settling in. Victoria's prison time was coming, her world stripped bare, but I'd grown from the ashes, ready to take on whatever came next, knowing dignity and justice start with standing up. Now let me ask you honestly, if you were threatened, slandered, or forced to accept money to lie, would you have the courage to say no? Tell me about a time in your life when you were forced to remain silent to avoid trouble. If this story reminds you that your voice also has value, please like to support those who dare to speak up. Share so that one more person doesn't have to bow their head, and subscribe because this world needs more people like... On screen right now, you'll see 2 new stories I think you'll really enjoy. There are many more waiting for you on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one. See you in the next story. Until then, take care of yourself and the people you love. With all my love and respect,